All right, students, welcome back. We are on page 27, and we are going to start with exercise 4. So please go to page 27, and we will get started. Exercise 4. Complete these sentences with adjectives. Remember, adjectives are for describing. Adjectives are for describing. Descrever. So let's get started. I will say the word and you will repeat the word. So hilarious. 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 Good. Clever. 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 Okay. Predictable. 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 All right, that one's hard, so practice that one more. Uninteresting. 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 Okay. Imaginative. 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 All right, that one's also difficult, so practice it. Disappointing. 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 All right, very good. So let's use these words here. All right. Number 1, I always knew what was going to happen. The movie was very... All right, so if you know what's going to happen, that means you can predict. So the movie was predictable. Predictable. All right, so I always knew what was going to happen. The movie was very predictable. All right, number 2. All right, first let's cross out predictable. Very good. Number 2, that book was boring. The characters were really... All right, so remember, we're looking at boring. So hilarious, no. Clever, no. Uninteresting, maybe. Imaginative, no. Disappointing, eh. All right, so the characters were really... uninteresting. All right, uninteresting. All right, that book was boring. The characters were really uninteresting too. All right, number 3. You could see the place and the characters of the fantasy world in your mind. The book was so... All right, so if you can see something in your mind, we say you can imagine. So the adjective for imagine is imaginative. So number 3 is imaginative. Imaginative. You could see the place and the characters of the fantasy world in your mind. The book was so imaginative. Number 4, they laughed so much because the movie was. All right, so if you're laughing, that means something is hilarious. Hilarious means very funny. So they laughed so much because the movie was hilarious. Hilarious. Let's make these a little bit smaller so they're easier to see. All right. They laughed so much because the movie was hilarious. Number 5. The book was great, so we wanted to see the movie. But it was. All right. The book was great, so we wanted to see the movie. But it was. All right, when you use but, you're going to say something typically negative about this part. So they wanted to see it, but it was disappointing. 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 That means they were excited to see it, but it wasn't very good. It was disappointing. Number 6. The movie plot was very blank. It really made you think. The last one we have is clever. So the movie plot was very clever. It really made you think. So practice reading these sentences in your own time. Practice reading them out loud so you can hear and listen and read at the same time. That will help you with your English. Let's go to exercise 5. Exercise 5. Read and circle the best word to replace the underlined word. All right, underline means there's a line under it. Underline. Subrayado. So number 1, Shakespeare wrote during the reign of England's Queen Elizabeth I. So which one of these is another word for reign? Presidency, rule, or childhood? All right, it is rule. Rule is a synonym for reign. That means it is similar. Number 2, Shakespeare probably invested a lot of time as a boy studying Latin grammar. So invested, is it bought, spent, or saved? This one is tricky because these words are all similar. They talk about usually finances. So when we use invested, we're talking about spending. So spent a lot of time. Number 3, there is no real historical evidence about the early years of Shakespeare's life. Evidence. Is it ideas, plays, or proof? All right, evidence is another word for proof. Number 4, Shakespeare's father was a well-known merchant with a shop in the town of Stratford-upon-Avon. What is a merchant? A banker, a seller of goods, or a doctor? All right, B, a seller of goods. A merchant sells products. And the last one, number 5, some people think that Shakespeare could have been an apprentice in his father's shop, learning about his business. All right, apprentice, is that trainee, writer, or lawyer? All right, an apprentice is a trainee. It is someone that is in training. All right, very good. And then here's a picture of William Shakespeare. He's a very good author. You should try reading some of his books. They are probably a little difficult, but you guys are all brilliant students, and you'll probably be okay. That's it for page 27. In the next video, we will start with page 28.